Chapter 9. The Collision. The annual Vanguard Gala was held in the Grand Hall of the New York Public Library. For Elena, the night was a series of forced social interaction. She chose a heavy emerald velvet gown. The thick fabric draped loosely enough to hide the curve of her belly and defined her silhouette. Inside, the air was uncomfortably warm. The room was crowded with the elite of New York. Huge displays of flowers stood in every corner, looking too perfect and bright for a winter night. Elena stayed near the walls, sipping sparkling water and counting the minutes until she could leave. She didn't try to blend in this time. Julian was right. Socializing at these events didn't work for her. So far, they had not brought her any real business. Speaking of whom, Julian was there. He looked thinner, the lines around his eyes etched deeper into his skin. He moved through the crowd, ignoring the people who tried to greet him. His eyes finally landed on her. Elena. Julian, you're making a habit of following me into rooms. Elena expected him to snap back or walk away, but he stayed silent. He scanned her face, searching for the woman he had known for 7 years. His eyes were dark and unreadable. Elena was about to dismiss him, but he spoke first. I thought you were sick. He stepped closer, his shadow falling over her. After the bakery, at the presentation, you looked so fragile. I thought you were sick. I thought you were hiding a sickness from me. I'm fine, Julian. It's none of your business. It became my business when I saw prenatal on the claim. He countered. His eyes burned with a mix of awe and a quiet, dark hurt. Elena froze. The insurance. She had been so exhausted at that first appointment, so overwhelmed by the heartbeat on the monitor, that she hadn't even thought to update her insurance information at the clinic. She had assumed her medical records were private, completely forgetting that the billing codes would be sent directly to the primary policyholder. The world around her, the clinking of glasses, the low hum of gossip, suddenly went silent. For a second, cold panic seized her, but beneath the fear, a strange relief washed through her veins. He knows. The burden she had been carrying through the West Village streets, the secret she whispered to herself in the middle of the night, was no longer hers alone to carry. Then, the panic returned, sharper this time. She couldn't do this here. She turned and fled toward the terrace, her heels clicking a desperate rhythm against the marble as she pushed through the doors into the raw night air. Standing by the fountain, Elena felt a sudden helplessness. The relief of the secret being out was quickly replaced by a terrifying void. She had no plan for this. She didn't know how to navigate a world where Julian knew. She stood there, trembling, not knowing whether to run further into the dark or stay and face the storm. He caught her then, the freezing mist of the water clinging to his coat. A heavy, charcoal-colored weight suddenly draped over her shoulders. It was warm, smelling of the London rain and Julian's familiar cologne. He had brought his own coat out with him, and without a word, he had wrapped it around her. For a moment, he didn't let go of the lapels. His hands lingered for a split second near her neck, his knuckles accidentally brushing the sensitive skin of her throat. Elena flinched, not from his touch, but from the sheer, overwhelming familiarity of it. For a heartbeat, the silk lining of the coat, still radiating his body heat, made her feel as if she were back in their bedroom in Connecticut, shielded from the world. You're going to freeze, he said, his body suddenly blocking the wind. They stood there in an agonizing silence. Neither of them spoke. The only sound was the rhythmic splash of the fountain and the distant, muffled music from the gala behind the glass doors. They breathed together, their breath looming in white clouds that mingled in the freezing air. It was a moment of suspended reality. For 5 seconds, they were two strangers with 7 years of history, pretending everything hadn't ended months ago. Then, the silence shattered. She pulled the coat tighter as she finally found her voice. I don't care, Julian. Go back inside. I'm not going anywhere. He stepped into her line of sight. He looked at her stomach. His expression was a mix of hope and fury. How long have you known? Does it matter? Her voice trembled, the tears finally breaking as she pulled his oversized coat closer to her chest. We're divorced. This child has nothing to do with the life you chose. Nothing to do with me? The words tore out of him. That is my child, Elena. We bled for this, and you are going to let me live my life never knowing. You didn't want us. She screamed back, the emerald velvet shaking beneath his heavy wool. I'm giving you exactly what you asked for. Why won't you just let me go? Julian's hands balled into fists at his sides. He had finally realized he was standing in the center of a house he had set on fire. He had walked away because he was tired of watching them both fail. Every social obligation and every silent dinner had only proven that they were a mismatch of expectations. He had convinced himself that the marriage was a mistake, a collision of two lives that were never meant to merge. He stepped back. The Thorn's CEO returned, though his eyes remained dark. The gala is over for you, he stated. Julian tapped out a command on his phone, his thumb moving. Marcus will handle your exit. You're going home. Elena grabbed the front of his coat, the wool rough against her palms. I am here to build connection for my company. You can't just issue a directive and expect me to fall in line. Your company isn't the priority tonight, he insisted. His focus was on the way the wind whipped the emerald velvet around her ankles. I am not debating this. You can hate me in the morning, but tonight you are going to be somewhere safe. Marcus appeared. He didn't let any emotion show on his face, though his eyes took in the sight of Elena wrapped in Julian's coat. Get her to the West Village, Julian instructed Marcus, never taking his eyes off Elena. Stay until she's inside. And Marcus, ensure the building security actually has her name on the updated list.